Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Something custom can console that console felino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason.
Hey, welcome back to Wanna Bet. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, I'm Jason, that's Ben, and yeah, that is the jam of the summer. It's the earworm or earbug or whatever you want to call it that won't go away. We got another big show planned for you guys, covering pretty much every sport going right now on the planet. As always, Ben and I are here pretty much every day, pretty much always at noon, sometimes 10 a.m., to give you the favorite plays that we have made generally in the last 24 hours or so. First, second, and third down is our three favorite plays of the day. It's not always for something happening tonight, but again, our most recent plays, what we like the most. Third down's the money down in the NFL. It's our money down here as well. That's the order we have them in. Fourth and long, we look at long-term bets, long shot bets, or sometimes bets that could click or connect or hit really quickly. But today we are going to look long-term at some NFL game bets that we've already made. And then overtime, our dogs of the day, and it's odd that they're considered an underdog, but the Detroit Tigers. What's going on in Motown? Is the Tiger slide for real? And would we fade them in the gambling markets? But Ben, as always, before we get to any of that, how did we do last night? Yeah, not great for me. I have not had many Ofer days around here. That was one, at least in my first, second, and third down bets. However, this show for the sixth straight day, I should say, cashed a nerfy or a yerfy. That is a no-run first inning or a yes-run first inning parlay. Yesterday, I hit on one plus 249, which helped me overcome my other plays that did not hit in MLB, and we finally lost a few soccer bets. I guess that was inevitable. But wait, Ben jumped on the Reds after they failed me 2 straight games. He cashed there. He was with me on Spain. That hurts. But there's our season record, guys, for the games that we've bet on that have already been played. If you're riding with us and you're part of the Wanna Bet community, then you are indeed cashing with us. So, yeah, I'm going to have a nerfy parlay today because I feel like it would be a disservice to all of us if I didn't. But Beltway, Ben, as always, you get us started on first down, brother. Where are you taking us?
Yeah, first down here, I'm going to go to the Orioles game. I'm going to have two props in this game, but I like Gunnar Henderson over 1.5. 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Yeah, they started around 105. Hitless in 2 straight games for Gunnar. And as bad as the Orioles are in every possible way, Gunnar is coming through, and he's having a pretty good year after a slow start. And some of that was due to the injury that we saw, but he's hitting in the 3 spot, and there should be some RBI opportunities for him. 347 batting average and a 597 slug with runners in scoring position. He's not great against left-handed pitching, but he's capable. And lefties are slashing 256, 256, 436 against Allen today. So Allen has struggled against lefties, especially at home. I do like Gunnar to go over the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and we're only getting it at this because it's a lefty on the mound.
Yeah, and what do we have? 4 or 5 MLB games today. That's it, which is kind of odd considering the All-Star break was just like not that long ago, but it's an off day for most of the league. First down for me, I'm jumping on this CFL bet. I actually made this bet a couple days ago, gave it out on the Discord. I like Saskatchewan to take care of business here against Edmonton. It's arguably the best team in the CFL against the worst. Now, this line is creeping up over 10 in some places. You can still buy it down to 7.5 for under -150. I don't think that's going to be there by kickoff this weekend. You're talking about a Rough Riders team that's 5-1 against the spread. Edmonton Elks 1-5 against the spread. A Saskatchewan team that's second in the league in yards per game, third in the league in points per game, third in points allowed. How about Edmonton? Well, they're last in yards per game. They're last in yards allowed per game. They're allowing 34 points a game. That's last in the CFL. Edmonton has covered just one of their last 7 games against Western Conference opponents. And when Edmonton loses, and it happens quite frequently, they generally lose by double digits. They've lost by 18. They've lost by 13. They've lost by 10. They've lost by 17. So I like Saskatchewan to take care of business here and win this game, frankly, by 10 or more points. But for that value, I'm playing it at the 7.5. Full disclosure, I also have it at 8.5. I jumped on it really early, and it moved a little bit against me. So I have positions here at 8.5 and 7.5. Second down, Ben.
Yeah, second down, we are going to go to the WNBA. And I'm going to go with Tina Charles over 15.5 points. She's over this in 3 of her last 4 games. Mabry is back, but she's probably not going to play a ton of minutes. She was their best player before getting hurt. But the tandem of her and Charles as the guard-forward combo, that should take some attention off of Charles and open more things up for her. Mabry's also a great passer. We've seen her really pick up a ton of assists in some of these games. The Sparks really struggle inside defensively. And I would also consider 20-plus points for Charles at plus 230 because she's done it a ton this season. And usually, like in her games, we're probably not going to get 16 to 17 points. If she goes under this, it's going to be an off night. It'll be 6 to 8 points. But if she goes over, I do think she clears 20. So I would consider playing 20-plus points at plus 230, but I do like her over 15.5 points at minus 110.
Love it. Second down, I'm going back to soccer. This is the final game of the Women's Euros. We have dominated this tournament. That's not an exaggeration. You can go back and look at the shows. If you're in the Super Discord with Ben and I, and you can join that Super Discord by going to the link tree in either of our Twitter bios. You've made money. Now, second semifinal did not go our way yesterday, but I'm playing this Spain to basically win the tournament and this final game against England to go under 3 goals. Now, you have to be careful with soccer bets. Don't just take Spain money line, right? That is going to be regulation. That's going to be 90 minutes. This is a knockout. This is a final. You've got extra time. You've got penalty kicks. So I'm taking Spain to be the last team standing. Doesn't matter if that's in PKs. Doesn't matter if that's in injury time after regulation or extra time or in regulation for that matter. And as for the goal scoring in this tournament, and it has been a tournament of both teams scoring and matches going over 3 goals by and large. But when you get to the semifinals and there's that much of a grind and these gals have run that many miles in the summer heat, it tends to take its toll as the stakes get higher. Teams get more conservative. You look at Spain's attacking flair through their first 4 matches versus the last 3. It's almost night and day. Their finishing hasn't been as clinical. The final pass hasn't been as clinical. Scoring balls aerially, which I don't think they're going to be able to do a lot of against England anyway, hasn't been there as much off of the set pieces, whether it be stoppage of play or a corner. They just have seemed tight. They didn't do what I thought they could do to Switzerland. They certainly didn't do what I thought they could do against Germany. And England sits back and tries to win it late. I mean, England, all their miraculous stuff has happened a lot of times after 90 minutes of play in stoppage time. They get it done with their super subs and the gals who come off the bench, but a lot of times that's late in the match. And if we're sitting here at 0-0 or 1-0, into the 65th, 70th minute, I'm going to feel obviously pretty good about this, especially if Spain has the lead. But I think it will be tight. Both these teams, again, have seemed to be feeling the pressure of the moment. And I'm thinking this is 1-0, maybe 1-1 at the end of regulation, and we get into some stoppage time. So that's where I am on the final game of the Euros. Third down, Ben.
Yeah, third down, we're going to go back to that Orioles game like I had mentioned, and I'm going to go with Charlie Morton, over 15.5 outs recorded at minus 120. He's over this in 6 of his last 9 starts. And Morton, of course, got off to that dreadful start to the season. Wasn't even getting 5 innings, but all of a sudden turned it around. And the Orioles haven't had a pitcher go more than 5 innings this series. And that's pretty important because you look at their bullpen. Felix Bautista was just moved to the 15-day IL. You have Colin Selby, Grant Wolfram, these guys pitching in leverage spots. Mansolino wants to get as much from Morton as he can. And when you look at what the Guardians have done at home, right, 655 OPS versus right-handed pitching since June 1st, 3rd worst in the MLB. As much as the Orioles have used this bullpen, and Mansolino, as I just said, he likes to ramble about how much they want to win and how they value that over anything else. So if you want to win today, you'd probably avoid going to the bullpen before the 6th inning. I do like Charlie Morton to have a solid outing here today. We just need 1 out in the 6th. I think he goes there. And I think he goes over this total.
Well, and they're also showcasing for trade, and most of their trade chips have basically peed down their leg to the point where they have no value. And Manzolino wants to let the older guys pitch out of trouble to show to these playoff teams that they can, in fact, eat innings. We saw Sagano, who had no stuff, give up a 3-run lead, right? Three batters into the game, and then load the bases in the second inning, and he's up on 80-some pitches, and they're letting him pitch through it because what other choice do they have? So I'm with you. I think Morton's out there to eat at least 6 innings for them unless it gets completely out of hand, and I don't think that's going to be the case. Third down for me, yeah, we're back on the Nerfies and or Yerfies. In this case, it's a Nerfie. No run first inning in that Padres St. Louis matchup. Now, look, you can look at Sonny Gray, and if you just look at the splits on his first inning ERA, you're going to say, ooh, are you sure about this one? However, if you look at his last 12 games start, there's been a Nerfie. There's been a Nerfie in 10 of those 12. You've also got a Padres team that's a top 8 Nerfie team on the season, whether it's home or road. And if you're looking at San Diego in the first inning on the road against right-handed pitching since June 1st, 2 runs scored. 2 first-inning runs scored in that span. That's bottom 2 in the majors. What about St. Louis? St. Louis at home against right-handed pitching since June 1st. 3 runs scored in the first inning. That's 27th in baseball. Okay, so who's on the bump for the Friars? It's Yu Darvish. Hey, it's been shaky since he's come back. But Beltway Ben, as shaky as it's been, 3 outings, he has yet to give up a run in the first inning. And this is a Cardinals team that is really scuffling right now. They look like they're waving the white flag a little bit. They're not exactly savages in the box and stuck in. Now, I have also parlayed this, and we've got to give out a parlay, right? Because we've hit 7 straight on the show between me, Ben, or our guest on Tuesday, Eric Casillas. So I have parlayed this with the A's, Astros, Nerfie as well. And that's going to get you, what was it, around plus 270. Why that game? Well, the A's are 33-19 to the Nerfie on the road for the season. They have the most road Nerfies in the majors. Houston, they're top 6 Nerfie team at home. Severino, the numbers look terrible. Severino on the road has been really good, and Severino's been a part of a Nerfie in 8 of his last 10 road starts. Yes, Houston's starting an opener. That gives me a little trepidation. That's why you're able to get this at almost 3-1. But the top of the A's lineup has not been getting it done on the road in the first inning all season. So that's where I'm going with that one. Let's make it 8 in a row, people. 4th and long, Beltway Ben. NFL, man. NFL. They say it's not for long, and it won't be long until NFL games are back upon us. Preseason games, literally, a week away from the Hall of Fame game. This is going to be a heavy football betting podcast. If you know my or TV show, I should say, game show. If you know my background at all, it is steeped in the NFL. So yeah, we'll have a lot of NFL information for you. We've been looking at week 1 games. I played one yesterday, but wait, Ben, you've been on one. What caught your eye on that week 1 slate?
Well, it is week 2. Yesterday I went week 1. I did go week 2 here because week 1, the Packers have a relatively tough matchup. I mean, it's Detroit, and we know Detroit's going to be a little down, but that's an exciting game, and it is in Green Bay. But all of a sudden, week 2, they host the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. So you're playing Sunday, and it is a short week, but you're at home. Washington has to come from D.C. to Lambeau, and it's not January or November Lambeau. It is early in the season, so the temperature will be a little different. It's not the same atmosphere, but we know how those fans are. And we've documented on this show how we felt about both of these teams time and time again. When we look at NFL futures, the number is going to be different heading into week 2. I'm very confident of that. I do think the Commanders beat the Giants, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't. But I do think they beat them. And the Packers, again, I think week 1's a question mark. But coming into this one, I think it's going to be a must-win game at home. The Commanders did not win a game against teams above 500 on the road last year. And with them traveling on a short week, I just do like the Packers to handle business here. And it's minus 120 now. Like I said, heading into week 2, this will be way more juice. So I'm just taking it now, July 24th, 2.5 months away. But it will be way more juiced heading into week 2.
I'm very bullish on the Packers. I'm preparing a lot of reporting for the Washington Post, where I write insider columns, talking to GMs, talking to head coaches. A lot of smart people in this league are very bullish on the Packers, and they think the Lions' brain drain is going to be a big deal. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Packers early and often. And if you watch the show, I'm on Jordan Love. I've sprinkled on him to lead the league in passing touchdowns. I've sprinkled on him as an MVP. I'm on Packers to make the Super Bowl. I'm on Packers to make the NFC Championship game. And I'm on Packers, which you can still get around plus 250 to win the division. I got it over 3-1. I like week 1, Beltway Ben, the Cincinnati Bengals to buck a trend here and come out a little bit gangbusters against the Browns. Over 23.5 points. The last time they played, they scored 24 on them. They got 21 on them in the first meeting. Now, there's a lot of narratives out there. Joe Burrow doesn't start the year very well. Well, guess what? This year, he's not coming off a major injury, which hasn't often been the case. The Browns own Joe Burrow. Well, that was the case 2 years ago. Burrow's beat them 3 of the last 4. The Browns, to me, are the worst team in the AFC. They might be the worst team in football. But I do think, Beltway Ben, with Joe Flacco back there, what did that look like last time Joe Flacco played games for the Cleveland Browns?
There's a chance that we get multiple touchdowns from the Bengals defense, who's not very good.
Bombs away, right? So do you think Joe Burrow's not going to have to chase points from the giddy up here? And I do think the Browns defense will capitulate, but we're talking about a Bengals team that was, second half of last year leading the league in scoring. They were putting 30 on everybody. Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, who knows when those situations get resolved, but both those guys, if these holdouts are extended, will be behind the 8 ball. And I think Joe Burrow is going to be looking to hang 40 on a franchise that did have his number early in the season. The Flacco element, deep ball. Stefanski will lean into that. They may even be behind in the first half of this game. They've got one of the better kickers in the AFC. 24 points to me at less than minus 150 is something that I grabbed yesterday. I don't think that's going to be there, frankly, by the time we get the kickoff. And I don't know about the Bengals winning games, but the Bengals offense will be ready for week 1 this year with a $60 million quarterback and a $40 million wide receiver and a $30 million wide receiver. And they brought the tight end back. Like, there ain't no excuses, and Joe Burrow knows it. All right, overtime. We're going to stay in the Midwest here. We're going to go to baseball, though, and we're going to go to the Detroit. The Detroit Tigers, who, look, I loved them to win the division. I loved them to exceed their win total. I did not make many baseball futures bets. I faded the Orioles and I backed the Tigers in a bunch of different ways. And those are going to cash. But Beltway Ben, this Tigers team is 1-9 in their last 10. They got swept by the lowly Pirates. For the month of July, they have an ERA north of 5. And outside of Skubal, there's not a whole lot of dependable starting pitching right now. The bullpen gets used a lot because A.J. Hinch likes the chaos and mixing and matching. But we're getting into the dog days. Oh, yeah, and they're 26th in baseball in runs produced in July. The Carpenter injury is a big deal. I have some reservations about them. But Ben, they're going to win the division. They've got a 9-game lead. I don't buy the Cleveland's ability to score runs enough to catch them. And the Royals, who I did back to leverage my position because I'm so heavily on the Tigers. I'm like, well, if the Tigers do blow this, who are they going to blow it to? So I jumped on the Royals at 18-1, as I told you guys a few weeks back. They can't get their crap together. So what do you see here with the Tigers? And they did get my attention on one wager here. I'm wondering if we're aligned here.
Yeah, I do like the Detroit Tigers under the 95.5 wins, and I'm playing that as a 1-unit play. And you can get it at plus 100. But let's look at, just realistically with the Tigers, right? They've overachieved a ton.
Yes.
McKinstry's not going to finish the season with an OPS over 800. I mean, the guy started an All-Star game. Javi Baez. I am a huge Javi Baez fan. Grew up loving Javi Baez. He's my favorite. You cannot expect him to continue to hit the way that he has. There's going to be regression there. I do think Green stays hot. I like what Torres has done there in their leadoff spot. And Torkelson, I think, is starting to come into that form that they expected him to be when they drafted him 1 overall. Skubal's a dog, but they're going to start slowing him down a little bit because we know his injury history. And in the playoffs, they want him to be in that form where he can go 8-9 innings. And we've seen Boris Clients late in the year kind of take some time off, do their things, and all of a sudden in the playoffs, we saw with Burns last year, heads into the 9th. Like, he'll show up in the playoffs, but we don't know about later in the regular season. Mize has been what was expected of him as the number 1 pick this year. He's finally taken that step forward. You can expect regression there. Reese Olson already has dealt with a month and a half long injury starting today, and they have lost like 5 of his last 6 starts. And that bullpen's taxed. You touched on it. Not many people are bigger A.J. Hinch people than I am. I thought
I'm right there with you. He's a maestro.
And everybody, I thought the Orioles should have taken him a couple years ago. Of course, they didn't, and now you look where they are. But he uses that bullpen a ton. And this isn't just this year that he's done it. He did it all last year, and now these guys are getting tired. They're getting hit. 4.03 ERA since June 1st. That's bottom 10 in the MLB. They use a lot of openers, and that's been done, like I said, a lot the past 2 years. Tommy Conley sucks. There's a reason the Yankees didn't want him back. Now, they do have one of the top farm systems, so they're probably going to add a pretty good amount at the deadline. But just with the way they've played, and I don't know that they're going to get multiple big-name guys that are going to completely change things. Can they get a few pieces to help them go deeper in the playoffs? Yes. Are they going to get enough to get to 100 wins or 96 wins? I don't think so. So I am going under this 95.5.
I think they play 500 ball from here on out, which would be more than enough to win the division and probably enough to maybe secure that 1 seed. Although I don't know how much they're really obsessing about that. I'm with you on Scooble. They're gonna back off him. The Jackson Jobe injury is looming large. Not that kid was going to pitch 200 innings, but like Alonso Flaherty, we haven't talked about him. Flaherty is god awful at this stage. It's only a matter of time before he starts complaining about his lower back. And even Mize, with all his injuries in the past, he hasn't been built up the way they would have liked. So I think they will take their foot off the gas. I don't think they're getting to 96 wins. And I'll be honest with you, I was trying to play them under 90 wins. I couldn't find it. Like I have to do a little more digging there. I couldn't find it in the marketplace. But like I could see them coasting in the final 60-ish games, a couple games below 500, coming in right at 89 or 90 wins, and being able to really spend the last 10, 12 days of the season just preparing for the playoffs and kind of locked into a playoff spot. So I'm with you there. I also like Toronto on the money line. I got it at plus 112 yesterday. Vegas doesn't seem to like the kid pitching for Toronto, but like he's been okay, and I've backed him before.
Yes.
And they've won with him on the mound. They tend to give him run support. And obviously, maybe it's a letdown spot for the Jays after taking that series against the Yankees. But like the Jays haven't really let down in about 3 weeks now, and they're still facing the number 1 team in the American League. So I do like Toronto on the money line today. Anything else to add, Beltway Ben?
No, that's all. I'm not going to suggest anybody put their money on the Orioles, but I think they do win today with Morton on the mound, and Allen is not. I mean, again, it's also the Orioles. You can't hype them up much, but I do think that they win today. That's a lean for me. But again,
what do they call it when you lose a 4-game series? It's not like a sweep. Is that like the Hoover? Is that like a vacuum cleaner or something like that? It's not just a broom. There's like something. I don't know. There's a name. Somebody gave it a name. There's something beyond the broom. Like if you get swept in a 4-game series. Yeah, I'm not touching that game. I couldn't really get there on anything, but I am with you. I think this is a spot where a frustrated Gunnar Henderson, if nothing else, gets some licks in on Logan Allen and that bullpen. That is our show. We will be back tomorrow. We're always looking at MLB. We're looking at NBA. There's some other CFL games that I'm continuing doing research on that I might have a play on. MLS. There is plenty going on, and obviously the NFL right around the corner. So we do this every day. We're here to help you make money every day. We want to bet. We hope you want to bet with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.